If your income stops the moment you stop working, you don't have income. You have a dependency. And most people never question it. Here's the problem. People think they need to earn more, so they try to work more hours, ask for raises, pick up extra shifts, start side hustles that still trade time for money. They believe the solution to low income is more effort, but effort has a ceiling. There are only so many hours in a day, and when your income is tied directly to your time, your growth is capped. That's not an income problem, that's a leverage problem. Let's slow this down. An income problem sounds simple. I don't make enough. So the natural response is, I need to make more. But what most people really mean is, I need my effort to go further. They are tired, not just underpaid, tired of resetting to zero every month, tired of starting over with every paycheck, tired of knowing that if they stop, everything stops. That's the real issue. Leverage means your effort continues producing results after the initial work is done. Without leverage, you are in a constant loop. Work, get paid, spend. Repeat. Nothing compounds. Nothing builds on itself. You survive, but you don't move forward. This is why some people work very hard for years and still feel stuck. Their income may increase slowly, but their structure never changes. They are still trading hours for dollars. They are still required to show up in order to earn. Leverage changes the structure. It is not about working less. It is about building something that works even when you are not actively pushing it. A scale that scales, a system that repeats, an asset that produces more than once. If you start from zero, this matters even more, because if you solve only for income, you will always feel pressure. But if you solve for leverage, pressure slowly decreases over time. The first shift is understanding this clearly. You don't just need more money, you need your effort to stop resetting every day. That is the foundation. Now let's go deeper. Most people hear the word leverage and immediately think of investing, borrowing money, or something complicated. That's not what we're talking about. Leverage at its core is simple. It means one unit of effort creates more than one unit of result. Without leverage, your effort pays you once. You work 1 hour, you get paid for 1 hour. That transaction ends there. Tomorrow, you must repeat it again from zero. With leverage, your effort can pay you multiple times. You build something once, it continues producing value. Not forever, but longer than the initial effort. This is the structural difference most people never see. When you rely only on active income, you are the engine. If you slow down, income slows down. If you stop, income stops. That creates constant pressure. Even if the paycheck looks decent, the dependency remains. Leverage reduces dependency. Think about a skill that increases your earning power across different places. Once learned, it can be used again and again. Think about content that can be viewed thousands of times after it's created. Think about a small digital product that sells repeatedly without you being present for each transaction. Even within a job, building systems that improve results can increase your value beyond raw hours. The key is repetition without repetition of effort. Here's why most people avoid this path. Leverage feels slow in the beginning. When you build something scalable, results often lag. There is no instant feedback, no immediate paycheck increase. It feels uncertain, and uncertainty makes people retreat to what feels stable. A job gives predictable income. Overtime gives predictable pay. Even small gigs give quick cash. Leverage rarely gives quick validation. It gives delayed payoff. So people stay in the cycle of earning and spending because it feels safer. But safe is not the same as scalable. If you start from zero, you cannot afford to think only in short loops. You need something that stretches your effort further over time. Otherwise, every month will look like the last one. Leverage is not about complexity, it is about structure. And once you see that structure clearly, you begin to evaluate every decision differently. Ask yourself one simple question. Will this effort pay me once, or can it pay me more than once? That question changes everything.
Now, let's make this practical. If you are starting from zero, you cannot jump straight into complex investments or big assets. You need simple leverage, something realistic, something within reach. The first form of leverage is skill leverage. Instead of learning something that only works in one job, learn something that can be used in many places. Communication, sales, writing, editing, coding, systems thinking. These skills do not pay once. They increase your value everywhere. Once developed, they raise your income ceiling across different environments. That is leverage. The second form is digital leverage. If you create something once and it can be consumed many times, that is scalable effort. A video, a guide, a small tool, a template. At first, it feels like extra work with no reward, but over time, it separates you from pure time-for-money work. The third form is process leverage. Even inside a job, you can build systems that improve output. If you become the person who solves recurring problems instead of completing isolated tasks, your value shifts. You move from worker to multiplier. That shift increases negotiating power. It increases stability. Now let's add a reality check. Leverage does not mean passive money tomorrow. It does not mean you stop working next month. In the beginning, leverage often feels like double work. You still handle your income, and on top of that, you build something that might pay later. This is where most people quit. They expect leverage to feel exciting. It does not. It feels quiet, repetitive, uncertain. You may build for months before seeing clear results. That delay creates doubt. But here's the difference. Active income pays quickly, but stops quickly. Leverage builds slowly, but stretches over time. If you only focus on immediate cash, you will always reset. If you allocate even a small portion of your time towards scalable effort, something begins compounding, not just money, capability. The goal is not to abandon active income. The goal is to use it to fund leverage. Now let's zoom out and look at this logically. Two people can earn the same income and live completely different financial lives. The first person focuses only on earning more hours, more shifts, more short-term wins. Their income rises slowly, but their structure stays the same. If they stop working, everything pauses. Pressure stays constant. Stress stays close. The second person earns the same income, but they allocate a portion of their time toward leverage. They learn a skill that scales. They build something small that can be reused. They improve systems that increase their long-term value. At first, nothing looks different. Income is similar. Lifestyle is similar. But 5 years later, the gap is visible. One person is still resetting every month. The other has layers, skills, assets, systems, options. That difference did not come from motivation. It came from structure. This is the reframing most people need. You don't escape financial pressure by pushing harder in the same direction. You escape it by changing how your effort behaves. Does it disappear after one use, or does it continue working? Income solves today. Leverage shapes tomorrow. If you only solve for today, you will always feel behind. There will always be another bill, another need, another reason to work more. But when you slowly build leverage, something changes internally. Pressure reduces, not instantly, but predictably, because your effort is no longer temporary. This does not require massive risk. It requires consistency, small allocation, repeated direction. Instead of asking, how can I earn more this month? Start asking, how can I make today's effort last longer? That single shift separates workers from builders. And if you are starting from zero, this is not optional. It is foundational. You don't have an income problem. You have a leverage problem. Fix the structure and income follows. If this way of thinking brings clarity, subscribe. The next videos will break down exactly how to build leverage step by step, starting from nothing, without hype, shortcuts, or unrealistic promises.